Okay, I think we'll get started. And I want to say good afternoon, everybody. My name is Chris Ward, and I have the distinct honor of representing the 78th Assembly District, which includes San Diego's beach communities, our core downtown and mid-city neighborhoods, as well as the cities of Solana Beach, Del Mar, Coronado, and Imperial Beach. And I want to welcome you to our first Senior Scam Stopper and Unclaimed Properties webinar held by my office. I'm truly pleased to be able to host this webinar and bring to you critical information to protect yourselves and your families. Now, before we hear from some of our guests, I did want to give you a quick update on some of the goings on at your state capitol as we are now in the middle of our summer recess. It was truly a busy period to the start of my time as your assembly member in Sacramento, dealing with hundreds of bills as we debated through so many issues in the legislative process. Just last month, Speaker Anthony Rendon actually appointed me to the position of Majority Whip, giving me a true honor to fill a leadership role in ensuring that my colleagues are present, voting, and we're able to move a lot of really important legislation forward to the governor's desk later this year. Because of these efforts, policies to address housing and homelessness, climate action, education, and of course our budget we're moving forward, including some of the bills that I've authored. I'm really proud to be touching some of the subjects around civil rights, around wildlife and native habitat protections, around helping some of our taxi workers, despite all the challenges that they've had during these COVID times, working on scholar share and community college support, and of course, making sure that housing and homelessness efforts are foremost in the solutions that we are producing for California. Additionally, Governor Newsom just signed a historic and transformational budget, and that was really from the work and the leadership of many in the California legislature. It's my first vote on the state budget, so I definitely take a lot of pride in some of the opportunity to prioritize our school children in higher education, fully funding so many of our systems, addressing and alleviating homelessness through a lot of affordable housing and anti-poverty programs, expanding public health resources, addressing drought, wildfire threats, and physical infrastructure and climate resiliency projects, and the list does go on. And we were really fortunate in partnership with Senator Tony Atkins and many others in the San Diego region to secure resources from some of our beloved treasures here and much needed infrastructure, both the physical and the programmatic. We had over $8 million to the city of San Diego to help the Ocean Beach Pier, which we know is falling into disrepair. We've got resources for both Balboa Park and Chicano Park, opportunities to be able to help the San Diego Food Bank, Jewish Family Services, University of California, San Diego, both the Scripps Research Institute, and also our medical center here in Hillcrest. We want to make sure that we're doing a lot for cliff erosion, and the list again goes on. So it was a very good year, over $200 million of programmatic dollars infused into San Diego needs. And we want to make sure that we keep our economy robust and strong, and that we'll be able to look forward into future budget years as well to meet our ongoing services and programs that you are asking me to deliver. Now, I hope you find today's webinar helpful, and I believe it's designed to make sure that we are helping our seniors prevent some of these very common scams that they can fall prey to, and to be able to help all Californians understand how to reclaim unclaimed property that is rightfully theirs. I want to thank in advance some of our guests for joining us here to speak to some of these issues. So we'll be hearing today from presentations from Maria Unzueta in the State Controller's Office, Kevin Durawa in the Contractor State Licensing Board, and Jackie Wiley in the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation. I want to thank them for being here as well. I also want to thank all of you for taking time out of your day for this webinar. As always, if there's any issues that you have with state business or any questions that you have on state legislation, please feel free to reach out to my district office if you require any information or assistance. We are more than gladly there to help you. One last note before we start, I did want to inform everybody that this webinar is being recorded for those unable to attend and you think might gain some information that you want to refer back to them through our social media platforms or other platforms. So with that, I will again thank you for being here and pass it over to our first presenter from the State Controller's Office, Ms. Maria Unzueta.
Good afternoon, everyone. First, I would like to thank Assemblymember Ward for inviting the Controller's Office to participate in this very important event. I am Maria Unzueta, and I'm the Director of Public Affairs for the Controller's Los Angeles office. My team and I focus on promoting state controller programs such as the Unclaimed Property Program that the Assemblymember mentioned. The Unclaimed Property Program happens to be one of our most popular among Californians. Before 1959, if a customer moved away or died and left money behind, the business often would just keep it for themselves. Now, California law requires a business, bank, insurance company, or another entity to give those funds to the state for safekeeping until the owner or an heir claims them. Businesses must turn over funds if they lose contact with a property owner for a certain period of time, and that's usually 3 years. Common types of unclaimed property include uncashed paychecks, inactive bank accounts, insurance benefits, and safe deposit box contents. So State Controller Betty Yee is safeguarding currently more than $9 billion in unclaimed property. So in order to search for properties in your name, you can visit sco.ca.gov and click on unclaimed property. You'll see it's on our main page. I recommend you start with just your last name and first initial, or we now have a different feature that will allow you to just type in your entire name, and you can look for properties and a list will populate where you can also add your address to get a little more specific. We recommend that you search for properties in areas where you have lived, starting with the place where you have lived the longest. The State Controller's Office will never charge you a fee to claim your property. If an investigator from an outside source that is not related to the State Controller's Office offers to claim your property for you, they may charge you a fee of up to 10% of the value of your property. If you are contacted by an investigator, you should reach out to us directly. Many smaller properties can be claimed online, and we now have a feature that I believe started yesterday where you can claim multiple properties at once, which makes the process easier and quicker. If you need help filing, you can always call our office at 1-800-992-4647. Again, that's 1-800-992-4647. So the State Controller's Office has a team of people ready to help you, and you can get assistance in Spanish if you are more comfortable. Prior to this, I did a quick search and found that there are multiple Christopher Wards in California with unclaimed property. But without knowing the assembly member's exact address, I'm unable to do a deeper search. But with 15 pages of results from my initial quick search, the state of California may be safeguarding unclaimed property for assembly member Ward. So I am going to show a brief video that will run through how to claim your property online, and that can also be found on our website. So I will share my screen.
Welcome to the California State Controller's Office Unclaimed Property tutorial on how to use eClaim to receive your unclaimed money. The paperless eClaim process has been improved to quickly connect claimants with qualified properties. This online feature allows qualified claims to be processed faster than traditional paper claims, with payment generally issued within 2 weeks. To get started, go to claimant.ca.gov and click Search for Unclaimed Property. Click Search Properties on the menu bar or the link in the center of the page to begin a search for unclaimed property. On the search page, begin by entering any combination of your name, address, or city, and then click the Search Properties button. Once you have the search results to view, look for any address where you've lived, received mail like a PO box, or have a family member. Once you have found an item that belongs to you, you will see an Add button before the property ID number. You can start the claim process by clicking on that button. This will add the property to your shopping cart that will be visible on the upper right-hand corner of the screen. Click on the Claim Properties in My Cart button to navigate to the Claims Cart page. On this secure page, enter key information required to make your claim. Begin by selecting the claimant relationship, then fill out all fields marked with an asterisk. Remember, only properties with a single owner are eligible for eClaim. If there are other potential owners, such as siblings or a spouse, a paper claim will be required. Review the information you entered. Once you're done, click the Create Claim button at the bottom of the page. If you need to edit any information, click Cancel to return to the claimant information page. Click the OK button to proceed with your claim. If you are eligible to submit your claim electronically, you'll be given the option here. Select Yes, I want to e-claim, then click the Continue button. On this page, take a moment to review all of the claim information. If you agree to the terms and conditions, click the checkbox in the e-claim affirmation form. Then be sure to fill out the fields at the bottom of the page to complete your electronic signature. When you're ready, click the Continue button. Next, you will see your e-claim receipt. Print this for your records. You will also receive an email confirmation. The email confirmation looks like this. If you would like more information about a listing found on our website, write down the property ID number and provide that to our team when you call the State Controller's Office at 1-800-992-4647. Finally, if you locate an item but do not wish to submit a claim at this time, there is nothing to worry about. There is no time limit to submit your claim, and the property will be held indefinitely until claimed. If you have any questions, please contact the State Controller's Office by phone at 800-992-4647. Our call center is open 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Monday through Friday, except state holidays. The California State Controller's team is committed to helping rightful owners receive their property. Please help spread the word by sharing this tutorial with family and friends who may have unclaimed property waiting for them.
Okay, so as you can see, the unclaimed property process is relatively easy. And I also wanted to share this web page. Excuse me, I'm having a little trouble quoting this. This is our property tax postponement website, and this actually is another program I wanted to highlight. And as you can see, the property tax postponement allows eligible homeowners who are seniors, blind, or have a disability to apply to delay payment of current year property taxes on their principal residence. The application deadline for this year has passed, but you may find additional information about the PTP program on our website. And as you can see on this page, applications will be available beginning September 1st. The next page I wanted to highlight was our COVID-19 relief page. So we created an online resources where you can look for relief for yourself, your family, and for your small businesses. And this is our main website, sco.ca.gov. And if you go to the bottom, you'll see COVID-19 relief and assistance right here. You click on that, and then this will take you to either assistance for individuals and families, or if you or someone you know owns a small business, we also have those resources. So it's available in both English and Spanish. And if you click on here, it will pull up the website with a table that has all the programs available for Californians to apply for assistance. We don't administer those, but we wanted to make sure, the controller wanted to make sure that this was a sort of one-stop shop for people to be able to just look for the type of relief they needed. And it would offer an explanation on what the program does, who qualifies, how you can apply, including links to direct websites for the program administrators, as well as deadlines. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to our office. We are happy to work with Assemblymember Christopher Ward's office as well. And thank you so much for allowing us to participate.
Thank you, Maria. That was such good information. And I'm already seeing some questions pop in there asking us to repeat the website again. We'll take questions at the end. I believe it's sco.ca.gov. My name is Kevin Durway. I'm from the Contractor State License Board. We regulate the construction industry in California. But part of the reason I'm speaking to you today is because, unfortunately, unlicensed contractors, they do target seniors and try to scam them in certain ways. I'm going to share my screen here. So Contractor State License Board, we protect California consumers by, like I said, licensing and regulating the state's construction industry. We license more than 290,000 contractors in 44 different classifications statewide. Example of different classifications includes plumbing, fencing, general B for the bigger jobs, and so on. So I mentioned this, but how do unlicensed contractors target seniors? Well, seniors are trusting, which makes them vulnerable to scams. What unlicensed contractors will try to do is they'll try to manipulate you and establish connections with you and take advantage of you. So an example would be, oh, your son Jimmy goes to high school at Laguna Creek. That my grandson down the street goes to the same high school. They're on the same soccer team. Maybe they'll try to establish a connection with you and then try to take advantage of you. So keep an eye out for that. Some of the biggest scams that we see at Contractor State License Board involve down payment. Unlicensed contractors, they'll often ask for a very large down payment. In the state of California, the down payment must be no more than 10% or $1,000, whatever is less. So if they're asking for more of that for down payment, then usually it's a scam. There are some exceptions to this. If it's a service and repair situation where you call someone to fix your broken refrigerator or broken air conditioner, that would be a different kind of contract, a service and repair contract. There may not be down payment involved there. Other common scams we see are door-to-door sales and pressure tactics involving licensed contractors. An example of this is, you'll get a knock at your door and there'll be some gentleman there with a pickup truck filled with landscaping materials inside, and they'll say, hey, we were in your neighborhood fixing your neighbor's lawn right down the street, and we have leftover materials, which is good for you because we can offer you a discount on those materials today, and we can fix up your front yard, $500 right now in cash, and we'll fix your front yard. The problem is you have no way to tell if these gentlemen are licensed or not. You can't check them. You don't have a license number. You don't even know what's on the truck. A lot of times, if you're going to give them a bunch of money up front, especially payments like cash or gift cards, they're likely going to grab that payment and either do a lackluster job and then leave the job unfinished, or just take your money and drive off. So really be cautious. If someone's knocking on your door and you're not sure who it is, I wouldn't even open the door. Talk through your screen door and say, thank you very much, I'm not interested. If you want, you can leave your contact material on my doorstep, and if I'm interested, I'll call you later. You almost have to be a little rude toward them. Another example is of a common scam involving unlicensed contractors and seniors are scare tactics. So an unlicensed contractor might knock on your door and say, hey, I'm offering free home inspections today. I can find out if there's any kind of problems with your home. So they walk around in your living room and your kitchen, and all of a sudden they find a crack in the wall. Oh, I find a crack in the wall. That's probably due to a water leak. Oh, I see you have some spots on your ceiling. That's probably due to a leaky roof. So all of a sudden, they're finding all these problems with your home and capitalizing on your fear and saying, if you don't get these problems fixed immediately, you could be in trouble. So you better work with me right now to fix them and hand me over some cash. Other common scams involving licensed contractors include verbal agreements. You might work with an unlicensed contractor and they'll say, oh yeah, I'll fix your fence. It only costs $250. Then all of a sudden they start work, and a week later they want $400, $500. They want more money. The problem is the prices of materials went up. That can be an issue. You can't get a verbal agreement involving that. It's going to be hard to dispute that later on if you're involving CSLB or even small claims court. So what you need to do is you need to get everything in writing, including the prices of materials. Prices of materials, they can change during the job. We've seen that a lot in the pandemic, especially with things like lumber. The prices of lumber have gone up. So that can be common, that the price of materials goes up, the price of your job's going to go up. You still need that in writing on the contract. And if you're going to change that amount on the contract, you need to make a change order on that contract and initial it and have the contractor sign it as well. Also, when you're dealing with contractors, you never want to pay in cash. You always want to pay with a check. and try to get a copy of that check as well and keep it in a project file. That proves that you handed over payment. And a project file can be any manila folder you got laying around the house. You can also keep in there copies of your contract, any photos of the work, any subcontractors that this contractor is working with. You want to make sure that the subcontractor is licensed. You want the subcontractor information, because it's later on if the subcontractor is saying that the contractor is not paying them, you could be in trouble as well with something called a mechanics lien. So what can you do if you've been scammed? We get this question a lot. First thing we want you to do is call CSLB for a complaint form at 1-800-321-CSLB or 2752. If you are savvy on the web, you can go to our website, cslb.ca.gov, and click on that big blue file complaint icon there. You should know that you have 4 years from the date of your construction job to file a complaint. So if it's still bothering you about that deck last summer that wasn't done properly, you can still file a complaint with us. We can still help you. It's important to know. It doesn't have to be something that's happened last month. And another thing you should also know is new this year for seniors, new in 2021, seniors now have a 5-day right to cancel a contract. This is added protection for seniors. We're talking, when we say seniors, we're saying persons who are age 65 and older. You have extra protection, 5 days to cancel a contract. That protects you from those pressure tactics that I was talking about. They'll pressure you into signing something that you shouldn't have signed. There's another look on our website of where that file a complaint button is. So why should you use a licensed contractor? Well, all licensed contractors, they've passed trade and law exams and they've undergone thorough background checks with CSLB. CSLB licensed contractors also are required to hold $15,000 contractor bonds, and they also have to have workers' compensation insurance for all their employees. Workers' compensation insurance covers workers' injuries while they're on their job, which protects you. If contractor you're working with doesn't have workers' comp and they have a worker that gets hurt on the job while they're working on your home, you could be held liable for that worker's injuries. So you really want to double check and make sure that if they do have employees, they have workers' compensation insurance. If they are claiming on our website that they do not have workers compensation because they don't have employees, make sure when they show up for the job, they don't have a bunch of guys coming to help them do the job. That means they were misleading and they don't have workers when actually they do. You should use a licensed contractor because it offers you greater consumer protection. It also offers you a lot more options when you're dealing with CSLB. We can help with the negotiation, mediation, and arbitration when you're dealing with problems with a contractor. These services are free to consumers. We have more leverage working with a licensed contractor. We can step in and help you take the steps to try to get some of your money back, to try to get you to feel whole again. You should also know that California law requires the use of licensed contractors for any home improvement job that costs $500 or more. The job can't be divided up into chunks to get under that $500 mark. We've seen it all. You can't do that. So how do you find a licensed contractor? Well, it's a good place to start is ask your friends and family if they have any recommendations. And once you get that name and that information, check and make sure that they're licensed. You can easily go to our website and find that information out. You can also use a really great feature on our website called the Find My Licensed Contractor tool, where you just simply type in your zip code and what kind of contractor you're looking for, and from a drop-down menu, and it'll give you a list of contractors in your area who you can then print it out or download it to your computer and call. You can also find this information by calling our call center at 1-800-321-2752. And there's the button I was talking about, a different button on our website, Find My Licensed Contractor. And there's an example of the window that will come up where you can type in your city of residence or your zip code and just pick from that drop-down menu what kind of contractor you're looking for, whether it's fencing or concrete or swimming pools. And you can do a search there and you'll get a nice list which you can download or print out. I really want to make sure that you are protecting yourself when you're working with a contractor. Get at least 3 bids and get them in writing if possible. The reason we want you to do that is because we want you to know the price range of your job. My neighbor across the street was putting in a new fence, and she's like, I'm not sure how much it's going to cost, you know, but I know from talking to you that I have to get 3 bids. So I'm going to get at least 3 bids. So she called 3 different contractors. The first one came in and she got a bid of $1,000. The second one came in and gave her a bid of $3,000. The third one came in and gave her a bid of $6,000. So you see the big difference in the price ranges there. Now they could all be different materials, you know, different kinds of wood or different styles of fence. The thing is, you should know your price range. It makes you a smarter consumer to know your price ranges out there. When I go to Amazon, I'm going shopping, I don't just pick the first thing and hit buy. I look and see if there's other products on there that are similar and might be a better price or better value for me. We also want you to ask contractors for references and check them out if you can. Check them out with your own eyes if you can. If they did a job for your neighbor down the street, call this person up and see if you're able to check out their fence or their concrete work. The reason we ask you to do that is because it's really easy to mislead consumers nowadays by just going onto Google and doing a Google search of beautiful concrete work, and you can just steal photos from the internet and slap them onto your own website and make the work look like it's your own, when it's really not. So try to see the work with your own eyes if possible. You can even text these references and say, hey, can you text me a picture of the concrete, you know, see how it looks. When you're meeting these contractors, I want you to ask to check their pocket license. Now, a pocket license will be a little laminated card, similar to the size of a credit card, and it'll look kind of like this. I want you to compare the name on the pocket license with the name on a picture ID, like a driver's license. That's to make sure the contractor is who it says they are, and they're not stealing anyone else's license number or working under someone else's license without them knowing. I also want to quickly talk to you about solar problems. Solar problems are continually becoming an issue in the state of California as more homeowners look into solar. We now have a solar task force and a solar smart page on our website for consumers. You should always be checking that page out before you're starting to do research on, when you're starting to do research on a solar project for your home. We also have a brand new solar complaint form, and that's to improve our response to solar complaints. If you're considering solar, you definitely want to be asking some questions. You want to be thinking to yourself, how long am I going to be staying in my home? You probably want to be staying in your home at least 5 years. If you're thinking about putting solar up, you also want to, learn about the direction of your roof, or if it's obscured by trees. If your roof is facing a certain way or it's covered by tall trees, you may not be getting the full benefits of the sun and the solar power to make it worthwhile. And you want to do the math with solar. And when I say do the math with solar, I want you to look at your utility bills and look at how much you'll be saving, and also look at the price of the solar system, the price of the panels on your roof. Find out when you're going to break even. When are you going to finally start saving money? Okay. That should give you a good idea of whether solar is a right move for you or not. I also want you to keep in mind that solar is not free. You should be aware of financing programs like PACE, Hero, Chief, or Real loans. They're often packed with high interest rates, and they can even be tied to your property taxes, which not only hurts your ability down the line to sell your home or refinance, it can also be a huge sticker shock to you. There was a woman, I believe, in Los Angeles County. She was interviewed in one of the newspapers where she got a solar project that they were claiming was free. In fact, it was tied to her property taxes. So 2 years down the line, her property taxes all of a sudden tripled for the month, and she ended up losing her home because she could not afford the huge change in property taxes. So you have to really be careful. There's people out there who can scam you, and they can be misleading when it comes to solar and contracts. You also want to make sure you always have control over your payments to a solar contractor. You want to get everything in writing. You want to get what's called a financing estimate and disclosure document that should really lay out the pricing for the solar system, the cost to you, the consumer. You also want to read the contract very carefully. Have a friend or family member look over the contract with you. Spend a good 24 hours with it before you sign it. Again, hire licensed contractors using the Find My Licensed Contractor tool on our website, cslb.ca.gov, clicking on that icon there. Also, check any license of anyone at any time by using the instant license check on our website. You can also call us 1-800-321-CSLB or 2752 for that information. Please remember, if you're going to remember one thing from my little talk today, the down payment must be no more than 10% or $1,000, whatever is less, for a home improvement project. Also, never let the payments get ahead of the work. When I say that, I mean, you never want to give the contractor more than half the money you owe for the project until half of the work is done. And you never want to make the final payment to a contractor on a project until the project is completed and it's up to your standards. Money is your leverage. So as soon as you make that final payment, you can almost expect to never see that contractor again. Think of it that way and protect yourself and your money. You can always call CSLB at 1-800-321-CSLB-2752. You can also email us for information, info@cslb.ca.gov. And again, we're going to be taking questions here in a little bit at the end, but that is it for me right now, and I will pass it off to Ms. Jackie.
Thank you, Kevin, and thank you all for being here today for this important event. I feel that those of us that are on the call are going to be informed greatly. My motto is an informed consumer is less likely to become a victim of financial fraud or scams. And we all know that there are a lot of them out there. So thank you, Assemblyman, for holding this Senior Scam Stopper today. My name is Jackie Wiley, and I am with the California Department of Financial Protection and Innovation. And during my presentation today, you might hear me just say DFPI, because that is just a lot of words to say at one time. But so I'm going to share my screen as well. And I'm going to start by this one right here. So people are probably asking themselves, wow, who is the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation? Who are we and what do we do? Well, we were formerly the Department of Business Oversight, and many of you may have heard of that name. And we were renamed to the DFPI as of January 1, 2020, when Governor Newsom signed into law the California Consumer Financial Protection Law. And with that law, again, it renamed our department and it also expanded our enforcement authority. So what is the role of the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation? We are California's financing authority. We are a state government agency. We are state, and the Securities and Exchange Commission is the federal level of us. We license and regulate state financial institutions, products, and professionals. Most of us that are on the call today probably own homes, and we would be the agency that you would come to or call if you had a problem with your escrow company, your financial lender, your residential mortgage servicer, a payday advance loan that someone might have taken out. So we're the agency that license and regulate them as well as other industries. We have 4 offices and we're located in San Diego. My office is in Los Angeles. We have a San Francisco office and our headquarters is in Sacramento. Also, so how will the new CCFPL be? So again, it extended our authority. We collaborate and partner with other state, federal, and local agencies, and we are ramping up consumer protections. We are trying our best to be out here to inform consumers, just as those that are on this call, of unfair, deceptive, and abusive practices. We're enforcing laws and regulations. We promote innovation, and we are increasing our consumer awareness, which increases our capacity to respond to financial fraud and scams. So the new law also gives the department that type of expanded authority to oversee also unregulated financial service products such as credit repair and consumer reporting companies, debt collectors, and I'm going to talk about those in a minute. So we're really excited about getting the laws underway and the bills that are signed for protection over debt collector calls, debt relief providers, and rent-to-own contracts, and private for-profit school funding. So this is the new industry that the DFPI will now be regulating. So how is the DFPI getting information out to the consumer? So since the pandemic, you know, a lot of us are working at home. We've been sheltered at home. We're teleworking, but we also have our education and outreach team. We're continuing to educate consumers, such as platforms as this one virtually. I'm sad that we're not able to, as of yet, come out in person. I'm used to seeing my audience. I interact with the audience. So right now, virtual is what we're doing. We also distribute educational publications, and you'll see this one on the screen. It's entitled Protect Yourself from Fraud. In this booklet, it's a host of information about recognizing red flag signs when you're being solicited, whether it's phone, email, mail, front door. There's just so many ways that people are being solicited and also, unfortunately, falling victim to financial fraud and scams. This is a very good book that will give you some tools to protect yourself. We also have a monthly outreach newsletter that we just instituted or just created for the public and for our partners and stakeholders, and you can go to our website and subscribe to that. In that newsletter, it gives information about the department, what we're doing, maybe some actions that we may have been taking, and we always include at least 1 or 2 scams to be aware of pertaining to that month. We also have a social media platform. We are on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and we are also now on YouTube. So most importantly, you're going to hear me say this all throughout my presentation. Do your homework, do your homework, do your homework. And so before I get into the phone scans, I wanted to quickly go over PACE financing. Lots of consumers have been doing home improvements since the pandemic. And when Kevin and I partner and do these presentations, he talks about the solar aspect of it. And he also mentions some of these different types of financing that have to deal with helping to finance a project that you're thinking about doing. And PACE is one of them. And what is PACE? What does it stand for? Property Assessed Clean Energy. And this is a program that is being heavily marketed, and it's a program that helps provide homeowners help to finance energy efficient and water saving improvements to their property. I'm going to repeat that. To help finance energy efficient and water saving improvements. And I stress that because people at home are doing a lot of home improvements, and many are seeking finance and may have been been approached about this PACE program. But I want to let you know that the DFPI licensed PACE program administrators and regulates the PACE industry. It is really unfortunate that consumers have I want to say fell victim to this particular type of financing. And I'm going to say that consumers should please become educated about this program before entering into the financing agreement, as the cost of the project or repayment of the loan can and has been and continues to be misrepresented. It's being represented as no money down or no out-of-pocket cost. I like free, but we have to stop and think, is it really free? So if someone is saying to me, oh, don't worry, you don't have to put any money down and there's no out-of-pocket cost to you, you want to stop and say to yourself, well, how is this going to be getting paid? If I have a bill for $20,000 because I am getting energy efficient windows within my whole home, and it's going to cost me $20,000, my question to myself is, how is that going to get paid? So that's the impression that it gives, that the services are free. And like Kevin and the solar, PACE is not a free government agency. Homeowners must pay it back through funding through their annual property taxes. And he talked about that. So many have entered into the financing agreements and now are struggling with property tax payments because it has doubled or tripled and are at risk of losing their homes and left with, like this picture shown here, incomplete or unpermitted work. So please do your homework by contacting the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation to learn about the risks and the laws and to get answers to many other common questions before you enter into a PACE contract. And of course, do your homework by verifying your contractor license or whoever's going to be doing the work there, okay? So there are many scenarios created to scam and defraud us with the sole purpose of one thing in mind: gaining access to our personal information and, of course, to our money. Sheltered in place over a year, scammers know we're home. Many of us are welcoming a phone call, and so my phone, I know, is ringing more so than ever, and I recognize different phone numbers that are calling every single day, constantly. So we want to know that common and pandemic-inspired scams have heightened, and we want to be aware of some of the scams that I'm hearing about. So, and then I wanted to relay that to you. And it's all about someone calling with an opportunity or an offer of such, and many have considered it. They didn't do their homework and they believe the caller. I'm here today to let you know, please, please, please do your homework, verify the information, and I'm going to give you some tips pertaining to that. I want to talk about the list that's over here where it's highlighted in red and it says immediate red flag telephone calls. Medicare, Medi-Cal. I get a call, my mother gets a call from someone representing quote unquote Medicare, and they're asking her, does she need this or does she need that? And we can get this for her. All she has to do is provide her information. My mom, and I'm instructing you as well, please don't fall for that. If you know that you don't have business with Medicare or Medi-Cal at the time of that phone call, don't give the information. It's a red flag. Hi, I'm calling from the Social Security office and I see that your Social Security card has been compromised. I'm showing that there's been activity maybe in a different state or that it's frozen. That's another red flag call because Social Security Administration would never call you. Hi, I'm calling from the IRS and my goodness, I see that your taxes are delinquent. If you don't pay with a credit card or maybe give me the routing number on your checking account, you know, you may be subject to some type of penalties or maybe go to jail. And red flag sign, call. The IRS does not have time to call any and everybody who is delinquent, haven't filed their taxes, or is owed money. So that's another red flag phone call. Hi, my name is Jackie and I'm calling from the county clerk's office. And oh my goodness, what happened? I see that you missed your jury duty time. Now we all know that jury duty is something of a civic duty. And you know, you hear that if you don't serve, that you can possibly go to jail behind that. So the caller will go on to say, calm down, don't worry, because you're probably frazzled and say, oh my goodness, I don't remember even being scheduled for jury duty. But the caller will say, let me have your Social Security number and let me see what I can do in the system for you. And another red flag telephone call. Jury duty will not call you to be summoned to do jury duty. You will get a notice in the mail. Utility company scams are becoming rampant. We are calling from the ABC utility company, and I'm calling from the delinquent department. I'm seeing that your bill is delinquent, and if you don't pay today, by 5 o'clock, your services will be shut off. How would you like to pay? They sound very convincing. You have to stop, and that's a red flag sign. You're not going to get a phone call from DWP, Southern California Gas, Edison, or whomever your utility company is. They don't have time to call people. You're going to get something in the mail to show you that you're delinquent or your payment needs to be paid. You might have missed the payment or whatever. So we want to be careful about imposter government phone calls, even showing on our home phone viewers. Taxes and these stimulus payments, and we all know that the child care relief money is coming out. It said that it's going to go directly to your bank account. So there is nothing that you need to do. There's nothing that you need, nobody you need to call. And please, please, please know that if someone calls you to tell you that they can get something for you quicker, one of these payments, that's a red flag sign. If you have a question about it, you know that you're going to get it either direct deposit, it's either going to come in the mail in a paper check, or possibly the prepaid debit card. Those are the only three ways that you will get the payments. If you have any questions, please go to the reputable site with the IRS. So immediate red flag telephone calls, I'm telling you that these are callers that will not call you, okay? Let's go to the left side. Housing relief opportunities. Since the pandemic, you know, we're all home. People have been struggling. People are losing homes. They are struggling to pay their rent, pay their mortgages. Again, the Dfpi, we license and regulate mortgage servicers, financial lender companies, and the escrow companies. If you're having a problem with your mortgage servicer, contact us. But when you receive a phone call with an opportunity to maybe lower your payment for a credit card, your mortgage, please be mindful and don't just grab at the first opportunity. Do your homework first. The scammers know that people are in financial stress, and the relief opportunities are available. Just like Maria said today, Kevin is here. We are governmental agencies. We're here to offer the services or provide you with information where you can get reputable help. I talked about the home improvement, and I want to share really quickly about debt collectors. Every single day, I get the same phone call with someone telling me that my warranty on my car is overdue. I don't have a warranty on my car. They call from different phone numbers, okay? So we have to be smart. And I'm going to tell you the easiest way to just nip this in the bud. Online services. Because of the pandemic, a lot of facilities, a lot of stores are not taking cash. We are using debit cards and credit cards probably more than ever. I know that I am. When you are choosing to do banking online, shopping online, please remember to verify the website that you're on. And please remember to log out of your banking services, okay? And I'll talk about that just a little bit further in my presentation. The romance and sweetheart swindle, we have so many people who are falling victim to this. All I'm going to say is please be mindful of who you befriend on social media, okay? When someone starts telling you that they can't meet up, when they start asking you for money, that's a red flag sign, okay? Dfpi online services, I shared that information about banking and bill pay. So millions of us are using services and it's growing in popularity. And then these fintech companies are emerging. And what the fintech companies are, these are new methods in the delivery of financial services. Again, digital banking rather than going directly to the bank. Things are going to more so be online. Dfpi is going to be instrumental in working with companies who are establishing these innovative financial services. So let's talk about how you can avoid becoming a victim of fraud and scam. So I know I've said a lot, I'm probably talking fast, but it's due to the essence of time. Protecting yourself from fraud defense tips. Telephone, it's best to just hang up. Don't call the number left on your answer machine. Go to the source yourself. Even if the viewer says this is the IRS, if it's a DWP, if it's a recognizable name, don't fall for it. Because why? You didn't initiate the phone call. They are calling you. If you don't get anything out of this presentation today, remember that it's a ploy or can be a ploy when someone's calling you, asking you for personal information, but it's a recognized name. Online services, change your passwords often. Remember to log out and be cautious with the technology. If you don't understand it, ask somebody to help you. Internet, email, or text messages. Pay attention to that extension. If it's supposed to be Amazon.com, make sure that it's Amazon.com. And I hope all of you know that to recognize whether a website is secure, that you will see a lock at the top or on the corner, or that HTTP should have an S after it before it goes into the whole extension. But hover, put your cursor over that email to make sure that it's a recognized email, someone that you know of. When in doubt, just delete it, okay? Make sure that you are clicking, that you're being careful about clicking into unknown text messages and emails. I'm very leery about receiving text messages when I get up in the morning and it's someone sends me something at 3 a.m. or 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm very cautious about that. Monitoring your credit. We all know that you can monitor your credit with the 3 credit bureaus. That's Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. You can stagger that by monitoring one every 3 months. So protecting your credit and making sure that there's nothing on there that you didn't aren't aware of. Freezing your credit. My mother is 79 years old. She's not buying a new car. She's not going to open up any new credit. My daughters are, if your daughters or kids are underage, you can place a freeze on their credit. And if you need to have access to that for credit score reasons, you can just simply lift it and you don't have to pay for it. We want to be mindful that there are still dumpster divers out there. When you roll your trash can off of your curb, it is free reign for anybody to come and look in our dumpsters. And I'm here to tell you that they're not just looking for the bottles and cans that you threw away. They're looking for those applications that you felt was junk mail and you just threw it in the mail without tearing it up. They could be looking for envelopes that have your name and your address on it because you received a shipment or you didn't tear up the label. So we have to be mindful about dumpster divers and utilize a shredder. If you don't have a shredder, just take it and just tear it up so that they can't piece it together, because trust and believe, these people are good and that's what they do that as well. Credit versus debit transactions. When I'm at the store, like I said, I'm using my card more so than often. I hope everyone knows the difference between using a credit card where you will do a transaction and then you'll pay for it next month versus your credit or debit card that is linked to your bank account. When you're in the store and you're swiping that particular card, please try to use credit. Press the green button and bypass putting in your PIN number. We still have people placing skimmers inside these machines that we can't detect. So just be mindful to try to bypass the debit option where you have to put in your PIN number and hit the credit button. And I'm going to say, if you are a victim of identity theft, please file a complaint immediately with the Federal Trade Commission at this website that's located at the bottom of my screen. So I know I've given you a lot of information today, and what's the bottom line to all of this? How can the Dfpi help you? So to learn about us, you can go to our website. It hosts helpful information and resources. You have to remember, and I'm going to say this, our consumers, you are vital to the department, as you are our eyes and our ears. If you know of someone breaking the law, let us know. Contact our consumer services office, and that number is toll free. We have live in-person representatives who, if you don't speak English, we have access to multi-language where we can get it translated, and they can help you with verifying the licensing status of a financial institution, service, or professional. Hopefully, prior to you engaging into business, you are doing your homework by calling us first. Provide you with information on how to file a complaint against one of our licensees if you feel that you have been a victim. And they can also assist with identifying and contacting the regulatory agency if it's not within our jurisdiction. You can email us, Ask Dfpi. If you simply have a question and you're not sure if you've been defrauded, email us. If you're not sure whether this institution or this professional is licensed, email us, okay? Also, outreach. We have our book list that Protect Yourself from Fraud book list. We have it in English and in Spanish, or you can request a presentation for a group or network by emailing us here. And Lastly, I just want to say the bottom line to all that I've said today, trust your instincts. Remember the saying, if it seems too good to be true, it probably is. And never give out your personal information unless you initiated the contact. I don't care if it's a recognized name on that caller ID. Let them leave a voice message. You go to your source. If it's a credit card company or for a business, go to an old bill and use that phone number, not the number that's left on the machine. And for God's sakes, please don't verify by pressing 1, 2, or 3, okay? Always go to the source yourself. I am due to the COVID, I'm still working from home and I can only be reached via email right now. So here's my information and again, our outreach website and also our toll-free number. So please continue to be safe, not only mask up, but protect yourself from fraud and scams by doing your homework. Thank you for allowing me to share today.
Thank you, Jackie. Always great information. I've worked with Jackie now, I think, on dozens of these, and every time I learn something new from her presentation and jot it down. So we do have some questions. The first one, I believe, is from Maria. It's from David. David asks, is there any way for an owner of unclaimed property to donate it to the state of California? That would get our name off the database and eliminate cold calls and solicitations. Some of the dollar amounts are not worth the effort. That is from David for Maria. Maria, do you have an answer?
Sure. Did you want me to also jump on video? Okay, I'll do that. Yes, and sorry, I got a little overzealous and I started to answer in the chat, but I realized there are some people that might be on their phone and might not be able to view this. So I initially said we didn't have that option, but we do. I went back through our unclaimed property forms, and it looks like you can donate the funds, but you will still need to claim the property or properties in order to donate. And at the end of the form, there will be a little box you can check off that states, I wish to donate my unclaimed property to the state school fund, or you can donate to the following organization and you can list an organization. But unfortunately, you do still need to go through the unclaimed property process of claiming.
Great. And then we have another question, I believe, for you, Maria. I'm curious how you claim property for more distant relatives, such as my deceased grandfather's sister who never married or had kids. This process seems very onerous and complicated. I get that you need to prove identity.
So it is possible to claim property, unclaimed property for a distant relative, but it is it can be a little bit of a process, but we're here to help you. As I understand, we would need a form of estate document and a death certificate to begin with, if you are the closest living relative. A will of some sort or an estate document of that sort where you are named a beneficiary in some way. I think that would be the most direct line to being able to claim their unclaimed property. If that doesn't exist, then there are additional forms that we have that we can provide. And it's essentially a cable of heirship. And so what it will trigger is for our unclaimed property division to go through the family history or family tree and start to eliminate the most recent relatives and make sure that they are not the rightful owners or heirs to this unclaimed property. So it's not a direct process necessarily, unless that previous estate document lists you as a explicit beneficiary to this deceased person's property. But again, the phone number for our unclaimed property division, they're very helpful. It is 1-800-992-4647. 1-800-992-4647. And I know a few people asked us to repeat the website. So our home website for the State Controller Betty Yee is www.sco for State Controller's Office .ca for California .gov. And there you can click our unclaimed property button. It's right on that home page. You can also go directly to the unclaimed property website at claimit.ca.gov, and that will take you directly to the unclaimed property search function.
Thank you, Maria. And Jackie, we just got a couple questions. Again, would you mind repeating DFPI's 1-800 number and the website?
Absolutely. I did put it in the chat. It's our toll-free number is 1-866-275-2677. And our website is, of course, www.dfpi.ca.gov. G-O-V.
Wonderful. And again, if you need to contact the Contractor State License Board, I'll also throw out my organization's phone number. Again, it's 1-800-321-CSLB. That's 2752. You can also email us at info@cslb.ca.gov. The last question, I believe, is to Assemblymember Ward's office. Will we be mailed the recording of this presentation? If not, how can we access it? I missed some parts of it. And his staff did say that they are going to upload the video to their website at a78.asmdc.org. a78.asmdc.org. I believe that is all the questions we have. Last chance for questions. I am not seeing any more. Well, thank you so much for attending today's presentation. I want to thank Assemblymember Ward's office and his wonderful staff for all the help with this. I also want to thank Maria. It was very nice to meet you, Maria. I learned so much from your presentation. And as always, the incomparable Jackie Wiley of DFPI. Again, thank you so much, all of you. And I appreciate all of you for attending today. Thank you.